Like I've said before, I seem to be a magnet for spirits. And the veil that is between this world and the next is a lot thinner than people think. I often wonder why some people, such as myself, can sense, see, or feel others when the person to my left or right might not have a clue as to what they're feeling, or they can't. I don't know. This is a story that has perplexed me for many years. Wow. Almost 30 years. I just thought about that. And this is something that one of many stories that has occurred in my life that I just kind of go, wow, and shrug it off and move on. But I've often wondered if there's other people out there with these kinds of situations. You know, as humans, we always think we're unique. Things only happen to us and no one else. And the whole reason I'm doing this channel is to tell my experiences and hoping that others hear it and realize that they're not alone either. They've also had these kinds of things. And that they're not unique in this only happens to them, because I've often thought that, and I still do. But this particular situation involves other people, one of which will be hearing this, and hopefully she'll comment. I'm going to turn back time to 1979. I'm in high school. I'm 16. My best friend, her name is Eva, and she has a boyfriend named Kobe. Eva's dad and Kobe's mother dated. They used to go to a local club and drink and dance and hang out and meet their friends. And I guess that's how Kobe and Eva met. And most certainly how Eva introduced me to him and Kobe's mother. Back at that time, you had to be 18 to go to the bars. And the bars were open till 4 a.m. It was a wonderful time to be alive. The music was incredible. Discos are on almost every street corner. And if you loved music and loved to dance, that was the time of your life. It most certainly was mine. So when Kobe and Eva would go to the bar to meet up with their parents, they'd swing by and pick me up. And I'd run around the bar finding guys to dance with. I danced with Kobe occasionally, but I usually would find other guys to dance with because Kobe and Eva wanted to be alone or be there together. But after a few hours, Eva would get tired and want to go to bed. Kobe still wanted to dance, and I did too. So we would take Eva home, put her to bed, and with her blessing, he and I would go to Dallas. It would hit the discos. Now I was 16. He was 17. We looked older. We looked like we were 18, maybe. Maybe. He was 6'1" or 2". He was a tall guy. Tall, slender, dark hair, mustache, nice smile, perfect gentleman, and danced like Fred Astaire, or better. I had modern dance and jazz dance classes in addition to 3.5, 4 years of martial arts in high school. So I knew how to move and carry myself. So together, he and I would enter contests, and probably 95% of the times we would win. I was always so proud of him. And one of the most amazing things about this guy was he was born without legs. He had his left kneecap. If I remember correctly, he was born with his left kneecap, but didn't have his right. So he had prosthetics that went up all the way, I guess, to the top of his thighs or close. Let that sink in. He had prosthetic legs, and he was my disco partner. And we won contests. I don't know if you've ever met anybody that there was something there. A magic chemistry between the two people. It was with him and I. Not in a romantic sense or a sexual sense. Nothing like that. Instead, it was a music and dance type chemistry. I mean, after all, he was my best friend's boyfriend. I respected that. Can't say I didn't think he was cute. He definitely was. He was a perfect gentleman, but he still was her boyfriend. But he was my dance partner. And we were incredible together. We literally moved on the dance floor like that's what we were made to do. We were destined to do. And we had quite a reputation. We'd walk into a bar that was having a contest, and you could tell the people, some of them were not really happy to see us, because they knew every time we showed up, more than likely we were going to win. It was just something about us together. And when we would win and leave pretty soon afterwards, my heart swelled with pride. Of him. The fact that he had false legs, fake legs. And he was competing against men twice his age that were able-bodied, full legs, and some of which had had lessons. And instead, he went there, we went there, and kicked their asses. And we were about half their age, and he didn't even have real physical legs. They were prosthetic. So I really admired him. He just had no idea. And I was too proud and embarrassed to tell him. I think his mom and grandmother knew, but I was too proud and embarrassed to tell him just how proud I was of him. Well, fast forward from, I guess, 1980 to 1990. I had moved away, got married, got a divorce, and moved home. And I was about to start college. I'd only been in town a few weeks when my girlfriend found me. And I think, if I remember correctly, she told me the bar we used to go to was closing and that we needed to go. find Kobe and go one last hurrah. So she found Kobe, they picked me up, and we went to the bar. And had our drinks, we danced, and I'm so glad. I'm so glad we got pictures. Because it's one of my most cherished photos is a picture of us three together with cheers with our drinks smiling. And of course at the end of the night, they dropped me off. We all made promises we'd get back together. We'd go do something. But life happened. My girlfriend was going through some stuff in life. I was starting college and overwhelmed. Fast forward about 2 years. I didn't start that semester because I was sick. I had pneumonia. And the doctor wanted to put me in the hospital, and I said no. I want to stay home. And I had a high temperature that literally lasted a couple of weeks. Several different kinds of antibiotics throughout that month before I finally started feeling better. But one of my sickest days, in the middle of that month of hell, I remember a vision. Now, I don't know if it was a dream and I woke up from it, or would be a nightmare, actually, and woke up from it, or was I hallucinating because I had the temperature? I don't know what it was. All I know is it was vivid, and I can still see it in my head today. That's been almost 30 years since that happened. And what I saw in this vision was Kobe, my dance partner, crawling, dragging his legs, crawling on his elbows. Something behind him was on fire. It was too big to be a car, but it was too small to be a house. So I don't know what it was, but it was further back behind it. He was crawling away from it. And he looked kind of scuffed up, like his shirt was kind of dirty and stuff, like he'd been in a wreck or something. And he reached up with his right hand and rotated his hand at the wrist and said, "Cindy, help me, Cindy." And I remember thinking, well, I thought he was left-handed. What's he raising his right hand for? What can I do to help him? Where is he? And I either woke up or I snapped out of it or something. But I couldn't get that feeling of urgency out of my head and my heart. I felt like I needed to hurry up and find him or something bad was going to happen. And I was afraid it had already happened. But the problem was, I didn't know where to find him. I had no phone. I was sick. I couldn't barely help myself. Every day, I couldn't shake that feeling. After about a month, my boyfriend that I had back in college showed up. He said he had called my mom. He lived in Fort Worth. And he said he'd called my mom to see how I was doing. And she said I'd been sick for a month and was starting to get my strength back. So he decided to come see me. He was off work that weekend. He come to see me. And he showed up and we talked and he said, "Well, I know you well enough to know if you sit here a month sick, you probably are going stir crazy. Is there anywhere I can take you? Anything you want to go do?" I said, "Yeah, it's going to sound crazy." He said, "What's that?" I said, "I want to go to Pilot Point." I want to go see if I can find somebody's house and check on somebody. And then I explained to him what I saw in the vision or dream, whatever it was. He didn't think it was crazy at all. He was kind of curious himself, so he drove me. And believe it or not, I found the house. The same house that I had not been to since, I don't know, 1979 or 80. I didn't even know the name of the street. I just knew what the house looked like and where it was in proximity to the school. But I was able to find it. Knocked on the front and the back door, no answer. So I got a piece of paper, wrote a note, stuck it in a Ziploc bag because it was starting to rain, put it under the windshield wiper of the pickup that was parked in the driveway, and said a prayer that I hope this is the right house, and I hope that his mother sees this. And the note basically said, if your name is this, and if you're the mother of Kobe, please contact me at this number during these hours, or this number is my parents, you can leave a message. Well, the very next day, the phone rings next door in the laundromat, and I go next door to answer it, and it's Kobe's mother. And I tell Kobe's mother the dream or vision, whatever it was that I saw, and I ask if he's okay. And she said, no, honey, he's dead. He died. I said, what happened? She said, well, he was having pancreatic problems. Pancreatitis, was in the hospital, but doing better, was going to go home the next day, and literally died that night. I asked when, and she said it was June. So about approximately 3 months after he died, he showed up in my dream or vision, whatever this was, asking me for help. And I didn't understand it. I said, why would he come to me showing me such a scary thing if he was already dead and there's nothing I could do to help him? And I said, and I'd already asked my mom, had she seen, because she read the obituaries every day, her and Dad got the paper and they always checked that. And I even talked with Eva and she didn't know anything. And I said, his death wasn't in the paper. And Eva didn't know anything. And she said, honey, he wanted to be cremated. He wanted his ashes to sit on my mantle with the beer, his favorite beer on one side and his favorite cigarettes on the other. And I did it just like he wanted it. And I said, why would he come to me, asking me for help, showing me something so scary? And she said, because you wouldn't have known any other way. That was his way of saying goodbye. This is what happened. He wanted me to know. But that's like 3 months after he died. He reached out from the other side to tell me. And I said, well, why me? And his mom said, because he knew you of all people wouldn't drop it. You'd look into it, and he wanted you to know. And that was an honor. That was a compliment to be, to receive that. So my ex-dance partner, my friend, the best dancer I've ever danced with, and I've danced with a lot, He passed away and knew that I would not know. His mom said he didn't want any fanfare. He didn't want an obituary in the paper. He wanted to go out as quiet as he came in. That was his choice. So his way of letting me know and preparing me for a bad ending was to show me something scary that I would have to look into, so I would find his mom, and find out the truth. I can't be the only one out there that's had these kind of situations occur. I can't be. But they're so quirky and weird that you don't hear about these kind of things. On ghost hunting websites or YouTube channels, people go looking for ghosts. They usually end up freaking themselves out instead of finding whatever. They have seances or whatever it is that they do to try to contact the other side. I don't think I've come across any YouTube pages or channels like mine that are stories of the other side reaching over and touching them. But I know I can't be the only one out here with these kinds of experiences. There's just no way. There's too many people in this world for me to be the only one having these kinds of things happen. If you've had anything like this at all, send me your story. Let me share it. And it was quite disturbing to get that visual from Kobe. It truly was. But I like to think about what his mom said in saying that it was the ultimate compliment. He reached through from the other side to let me know. And so I'll take it. And if she's right, and what my gut also tells me is right, once someone passes, if you loved them, if you cared about them, and you missed them, they sense it. And they also sense what is in your heart. And if that's the case, Kobe, if you're listening, I enjoyed it immensely. I admired and respected you. And I hope we meet again in a future life. And I hope we can dance again as we once did. Rest in peace, Kobe. Thanks for listening.